Greetings, my name is Dennis Daniels, and this is Moodle quiz item analysis with some suggestions on improvements to the interface. First up, of course, before going much further, is to go visit Moodle.org and review the forums. There's lots of tips and tricks there to give the harried teacher a reduction or some ideas on how to reduce their secretarial tasks. In my humble opinion, teachers should not be paper pushers, and I thank goodness for Moodle and having as many of my students as I do able to work on the computer completing their assignments. Quiz item analysis. Okay, let's go take a look at the quizzes themselves. I'm alt-tabbing over to my site, UASIT2, and in a moment here the page will load. Let's go to quizzes. Quizzes, and you can pick any one of these quizzes. Oh, I should actually let you know I'm using 1.53. And let's see, view reports for 109. Sure. Or do we want to reduce the noise? Let's reduce the noise. General computing quiz 19. And we had 6 students who took this test. And now let's take a look at the reports. I believe that's where the item analysis is. And regrade attempts, item analysis, edit, preview, info. What's info? I have no idea what that is. Oh, okay, that's my data on the test. Extra credit will be the last one for your final. Reports, let's go back to that. Turn off this. Okay, so I had 6 students take this test, and the scores were varied. The student did fairly well. 2 minutes and got 10. 10 out of 10. So I'm going to leave that. Now, item analysis. This is what we're after. Item analysis. I wonder if I zoom in a little bit. I love Firefox. Now you should probably be able to see that a little better. Item analysis. Click on that. Now, you need to zoom back down a little bit so you can see the whole page. Because there's a lot of data on this page. And luckily, we can turn off this coefficient. And, we don't need the coefficient. I don't need the index. I don't need whatever that is. SD. Correct facility. Don't need that. See, a lot of this stuff I just don't need. I mean, this is all great for statistical analysis. But what needs to be here, and this is where we're going, I can dump all of those fields, no idea what they are, or what they're for. I mean, there might be information over here. Let's see what it says. Okay, yeah, this is all very nice for you statisticians out there, but I've got a lot of quizzes, and I've got a lot of quiz questions. And what I would like is a feedback field. I want to be able to add, actually what would be really nice is to search for every instance where this is the answer of a particular question and supply the feedback for this question over 10 million times if need be. Control key is going to be the answer. In this instance, it's going to be on the keyboard. Look to your keyboard for this key. So I'd like to have a field here where I could click on it, and it would give me the option of providing more feedback. Feedback is the killer. It's the one thing that students love. It's one thing that everybody loves. But there's no way of easily adding it. I can go to this question here and edit it and add the feedback, but I don't want to be doing that because I've got, as you can see, quite a few questions. In fact, I have well over 60 questions that could, in fact, require feedback. So much like the quick grading, actually, maybe that would be a good example. Much like the quick grade feature in the assignment module, there would be a quick feedback feature here so that I could scan down and see, oh, okay, this question, most students got it right or most students got it wrong by turning on one of these. Don't remember which one. But having the feedback field there would give me the ability to add feedback, more feedback to the correct answer. And if I see that there's a number of students, show partial, counts, I think that might be the one I want. See how many times people chose that. No. I don't know which field here, I'll turn that off. How many times a student or a group of students, oh, right here, okay, 100%, that's the one I want. So the arrow keys for this particular question on this particular quiz, arrow keys was chosen. That's not the right answer. So I could click on this, provide the feedback and say, no, arrow keys would not be the appropriate response because moving the insertion point in one stroke to the beginning of a line, that might be a better wording of the question. Which brings us to challenge questions. Students don't have a way in Moodle to challenge a question. If they don't like the question, if they sense that the question itself is vague and we are not perfect, they could have a second field here or anywhere else on this great big open real estate to say, I challenge this question, or this question, or just a tick box. Better yet, an explanation of their answer. Why did they choose that answer? That's golden. An explanation for their answers. That's what I should include here. F5, escape, Alt-Tab, explanation. Student provision for explanation of answer given. Arrow, shift arrow up. Let's reduce that to 44. That fits. Control S. F5. Okay. Student provision for an explanation of answer given. Look at all the real estate here. I would really like to be able to include a field in the question so that when a student chooses one of these answers, they tell me why they chose that answer. That tells me more about why or how they're thinking than anything else. And that would be a golden field providing feedback, because if the student wrote a good explanation, you could click on it and say, add this as feedback for that answer. Because the students are doing the work. Moodle could be a great publishing tool if it allowed more teacher control over the students' input. Let's add that to my wish list since you're here and I can do that. Alt-I, insert slide, click to add title. Let's go to outline mode. I like the outline mode. Scroll down. Moodle could be a great curriculum management system if it provided more control over usage of student inputs and deliverables. That's a big statement. Let's see what it looks like. Moodle could be a great CMS curriculum management system that provided more control over usage of student inputs and deliverables. For example, the quiz I just showed you. Students could help the teacher improve the test by actually providing feedback on a test, by writing the feedback, by providing support for their answers, support that could fill the empty spaces, and whether or not this particular answer has feedback or not. If the student says that it's a backspace key, and they say, because the backspace key does this, you can modify that quickly and say, this is wrong because that's what the backspace does. It provides more of a feedback mechanism. So, let's go back to my slideshow. So, Moodle could be, again, a great CMS, a really, truly great CMS, curriculum management system, if it provided more control over usage of student inputs and deliverables. I'd like to encourage you all to go out and create your own screencasts. And if you're a teacher, have your students, especially if you're a computer teacher, have your students start doing screencasts, publish evidence of their work, help the world become a smarter place, because Lord, well, heavens knows there's quite a few questionable people near the top. Screencasts are great to show evidence of thinking. They're easy to make, but it does require some organization. That said, for you flat world people, there's not a whole lot of difference, in my opinion, in my travels between the developed and developing world. Most of the world is still pushing papers and pencils as viable means to provide 21st century educations. I'm, as you can imagine, in stark disagreement with that analysis. We can fix it. New technologies, power over Ethernet, for example, promise great leaps and bounds for the integration of computers in the classroom, particularly as it applies to an LTSP, Linux Terminal Server Network. They're easy to build. I built one myself, and with a bit of help among your community, you too can build one for your business, your home, your school, your community center, your retirement community. LTSP.org. Go look at it. I want to thank you for your time. My name is Dennis Daniels, and if this has helped you or anyone you know, please send me an email. Thank you, and happy Moodling!